Hi, everybody. It's Lisa Marie here, the Sassy Wealth Queen, and the brains behind the Sassy Wealth Coach. And don't forget about my podcast, Cash and Sass. And with me is my biz bestie and fun other half, Karla Ukman, and she is not your father's financial advisor, which I absolutely love that tagline, which basically means she's not boring and willy-nilly. And if you ever want to know what that means, just go look at the other recording that I'm sure we posted by
Yes, our last recording.
I talk about the willy-nillys. And we're going to talk about all the things of financial planning because I think it's really important. There's so much more that goes into that. And so often, especially with my clients, when they come to me, there's different aspects of wealth planning that they don't really realize is considered part of wealth planning. I'll be honest, I'm a wealth coach and I didn't realize all of it. And Karla she's the baddest. She's the expert in it. And she can explain it to where you understand it. And she calls out people who don't know what in the world they're talking about. And I love her for that. I think that's one of the reasons why we decided to be biz besties is because I absolutely love the fact that we call out on the BS, right? And it's one of the things that I'm passionate about is, if you're following me, if you listen to my podcast, if you do any of those things, I am passionate about women being able to create and retain and expand their wealth. And so today we're just going to talk about another part of that, another piece of that that's part of that retaining and expanding wealth, especially so that your money works for you. So I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself as well, and so that we can dive into it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Lisa. As she shared, I'm not your father's advisor, and I work with women and historically excluded communities where I create a space for them to build wealth their way. And I do that through education, through all the resources that I'm able to provide that are usually given to other communities of wealth. And I really focus on making sure that your goals are accomplished when it comes to building wealth, and there's no strict way of doing it. It's what feels good to you, and I'm here to make sure that we reach those goals and we make them the most efficient as possible. And I do that through my financial planning packages, as well as life insurance, investment and wealth management, small business services, and some other resources. So that is who I am. And thanks again for having me.
I think it's awesome, but I want to talk about the wealth management piece and the life insurance, because when we first met and started talking, I would have never thought of the life insurance being part of a wealth plan or financial planning. And it is, because I've been educated and I've done some more research on it. And then you've educated me some more, because you've even said, be careful what you Google out there. Because let me tell you, there are some, if you thought there was some rabbit holes and willy-nillys there really is. I'm telling you, the amount of bad information out there is just scary. And I just think it's important, especially for us as women, to know, to know what the hell we're doing, to know what's going on with our money, right? First and foremost.
Yes.
And to know how the different ways that we can have our money work for us. It doesn't have to be quote unquote in crypto. There's other ways and safer ways and better ways to do it and still come out a lot further ahead than you would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been doing this for 11 years, and this is my own firm. And I think that that's super important to talk about, because there are a lot of life insurance agents or other advisors that work at like banks, and there's nothing wrong with them, but depending on what you're trying to do and what your values are, it matters who you're working with.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that you're working with someone that is, it's called a fiduciary. That means that they always have to put the client's interest first, and you need to be securities licensed in order for that to hold up in court. And that is what I am. I'm securities licensed and I'm life insurance licensed. And the life insurance piece is a lot more complicated than just purchasing a whole life policy or term policy, or purchasing it because you're being told that you can build wealth and withdraw your cash value in retirement. There's so many different things that have to be considered when it comes to life insurance, that a lot of people aren't taught the right way of how to structure the life insurance. So it's not their fault. It's just the resources, that the lack of resources to these agents and advisors that are selling life insurance. They get licensed and then they're like, here you go, because the regulations are different than the financial planning and the investment. So that's one of the pieces that you and I talked about too.
Well, yeah, because we talked about the fact that way back when I was actually licensed to sell life insurance. I blew her mind when I told her this. She's like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, which reason I'm bringing that up is because that's where I'm trying to explain to you of how scary that can be. Okay. One, I never went and did it. And two, I was still licensed in my state where I could have sold you life insurance and or health insurance. It was insurance. It was life. Yeah, it was life and health insurance. Yeah. And I was licensed because I worked for an agent who had his own firm. And in order for us to work there and answer the phone or do anything, we had to be licensed. And that was just so like, wait, if someone asked a question, we were able to answer it. I still wasn't comfortable answering it. And we still had to be licensed in order to do that and to work there. That was the state requirement. And, and then he kept pushing for me to sell the stuff. And I'm like, dude, I took the test because I had to, and, and to work here. I don't know enough about this to be able to sell something to someone that I can actually say I know for sure is what they would need. And I swear to you, he said it doesn't matter.
Oh, I believe that. I absolutely.
And again, to show my age, this was 30-something years ago. Well,
nothing's really changed.
And I was going to say the sad part to that is that was 30 years ago. I was in my 20s. I'm in my 50s now. 50s, 50 and a half. So I'll be in my 50s in July. So I'll be 51 in July. But the sad part to that is nothing's changed. Overall, it's still the same way. And one of the reasons what I love about you is that you get information about, okay, you want to do this, but is this really the right thing for you? And you actually get information on their personal life, about their business, and say, okay, you need to be making this much money, your revenue coming in order for us to do this. And if they're not there, or they're not sure how to get there, or they, then you're going to say, okay, they need to go and work with someone like me, a wealth coach, a CFO, because I'm a wealth coach and a CFO in one. And there's not many of us that do both hand in hand, but I do it because one, it's my background, and two, I believe it goes hand in hand with that mindset piece. You have to have all the parts. And I have found that my clients, once they've worked on that, they love having that CFO because, again, life happens. And as my coach and I have said, she said to me, she goes, when you're in a pickle jar, and I'm like, oh, gross, pickles, I don't like pickles. So I actually use that analogy now, because when you're in a pickle jar and it's something you don't like, you can't see how to get out. And when life happens and you're in that space, having someone on the outside to be able to say, okay, you know what, we can do this and this, and we can make this happen. Because when a CFO is able to see all the things, and we've already been working together, I'm able to navigate you through that. And then Karla is able to say, okay, this is what we can strategically do to get you from point A to B, C, and D from here 20 years down the road, which I absolutely love. But she takes the now part into account, where so many times the my favorite word, willy-nillys. Don't. I don't know what else to call them except bad words. And you know, that was my first taste of that world, was where he was saying it doesn't matter. And you know, okay, I was in my 20s and I needed a job, okay, because I was on my own, and something didn't sit right with me, right? But who was I to tell him he was wrong? I was 20 and he wasn't. And I don't know how I got out of it, but I still didn't do it. And then I was telling Karla that I ended up leaving the job because he was literally pushing me to do that. And I just wasn't comfortable selling something to someone that I wasn't going to convince someone to buy something, a plan, that if it actually wasn't the right plan for them. And I just think that's an important piece of retaining and expanding that wealth, is knowing all the pieces and parts that are there, and working with someone who's going to care enough to know what your goals and your desires and your needs are and your values. Because if you're working with someone who's not aligned with caring about that, then you're just, again, money's going down the drain. And that's the whole purpose. I want to stop. I don't want money going down the drain for anybody. I want you to be able to, you know, expand it and do things with it.
Yeah. And what I see a lot of times when it comes to the financial analysis too. So a financial analysis is not a financial plan. Okay. How do you know the difference? You're paying money to a financial planner like myself. There is a contract, and you are getting a document. So they can range from 50 to 150 pages or more. And the software is only available to licensed fiduciaries. So anybody that's securities licensed. And that is what a financial plan is. A retirement analysis or a financial analysis, you cannot charge for it. It is free if they are life insurance licensed. They are not allowed to charge for a financial plan. So what you find is in the industry, because they're not allowed to charge, and everybody's here to make money, right? Like no one is working for free. I blame the industry, one, and two, you know, you're being put into life insurance policies for commission purposes because there's no other way that these agents can get paid. Now, I'm not bashing them whatsoever, because we need more people that have the desire to help people in the life insurance realm. And I am not for everyone when it comes to life insurance. But what I do want to make sure is these policies are structured correctly. You are not being told to put your money into a life insurance to grow wealth. And that is a way to grow wealth, but it has to be done the right way. When I say that, and I'm not going to go deep into it, but this is what Lisa and I were talking about a few months ago with this. The cost of insurance inside of these policies are front loaded depending on the carrier, between 10 and 15 years. So your cash value is not growing for 10, 15 years. So, also, the cost of insurance is going to be calculated internally by these carriers, depending on the cash value and death benefit, the space between that, okay? Because that's called the cost of insurance. So the life insurance company is actually only on hook for the difference between the cash value and the death benefit, not the full amount, if you think about that. If you think about it like that. So I have actually worked with one of the biggest life insurance companies in the world, a Fortune 500 company, and I would fix they're policies from 30, 40 years ago that these advisors sold, and they were crashing. And I would go in and I would fix these and put these people into better policies, and also talk to them about what their experience was, why it was structured that way, the misinformation that was given, because it was part of a settlement, by the way. And then I went and I would teach other advisors how to structure life insurance in the most ethical and appropriate way. And so that's part of the financial planning process, is making sure that it's structured the right way, and you're not just getting, sold. That's the biggest part. I don't care what you go into. Not everybody needs life insurance. Not everybody needs disability insurance. Not everybody needs, some of these things that are being offered out there, annuities. They have to be structured the right way, and they have to be, appropriate for you. And that's one of the things that I do. I call people out that I see that are.
And I know people are going to, I know you do. If y'all have never seen her page, go to her page. I'm telling you, she calls them out all the time, and she does not care. It's one of the things I love about her. She doesn't realize it, but it's made me be a lot more brass, and like thought about being more brass. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And, let's just see what happens. But I'm asked, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask, when you say appropriate for someone, what do you mean? Because normally when we talk about these things, they try to sell you everything and anything under the doormat. I mean, honestly, you need an annuity, you need a life insurance plan, you need short-term disability, you need long-term disability, you need all of these things. And what it is again, they're making commission off of it. And they're not actually looking at what your goals. I'm assuming what you mean by appropriate is what your goals are, what your desires are, and they're not taking that into account. But what do you mean when you say appropriate?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So appropriate means what's in your best interest and what is aligning with your goals. So, for example, on all my life insurance clients, I do an analysis. Now, if you need a deeper analysis, there's other packaging that includes that. But what happens is I put in numbers for you saying, okay, what's your income? What's your projected income in 20, 30 years? Are you going to have a pension? Do you have a special needs child? Are you charitably inclined? Those are things that we have to talk about. It's not just about how much debt do you have. And also, what does your tax liability look like in the future for higher net worth? And so these are things that we look at. And those policies that I offer to a client and suggest, they have to be appropriately structured, meaning, okay, I'm not going to tell you to just get a term policy that lasts for 10 years for $1 million because I make commission off of it, and you actually needed something that is going to last you the rest of your life, and you only needed $250,000. So those are things that's what appropriate means, and making sure that it's structured in a way that it really fits in your life, your desires, and your goals, instead of just purchasing whatever.
Well, yeah, because we've talked about that. Like, most people know I have a special needs child. If you're new to following me and you don't know that, I do. And when I was talking to you about it the first time we were chatting, you were like, well, actually, you know what, Lisa, I'd want more information, but I would actually say you wouldn't even need, and I don't even remember what it was I said, that someone had told me I needed. You'd probably want something else, but we would get the information and we would do something that would that way give you what you're wanting, because you're wanting it to make sure it's there for them. And, especially for her, I want to make sure she's taken care of, right? I don't want her to have to depend on the state, because Lord knows we already know, as our conversation prior to going live, that the SSA offices are more behind now than they've ever been ever. And we don't know why. And we don't have to depend on that. I want to know that she's taken care of. And so that means what I may need in that realm is going to be different than what you may need for your lifestyle and in your realm. And that's what I love about this, is that Karla actually takes the time, and I do the same thing with, creating your wealth roadmap, your money roadmap. Is okay, when I'm creating the money roadmap, yes, we're creating the stuff about your monthly expenses, and then we're taking into account your yearly expenses. But one of the things I ask you is, okay, what are your wants? What are your desires? What are your goals? And they're like, what do you mean? You want my small goals and big? I want the gigantic goals. I want them all. I want small, medium, big. I want them all. Because when I have them listed, and I know that these are your values and then these are your goals, I can make sure that that money roadmap in your business or person is leading you to be able to reach those. And then when it comes to that next piece, and she can do the same thing, but if you're working with me, when it comes to that next piece, that's when I say, okay, I want you to go and meet with Karla, because Karla's going to be able to do this extra part. And that's the cool thing about it, is then we'd be able to, she and I would be working together. But it doesn't matter, honestly, if it's me or her, as long, just make sure it's someone who actually gives a crap. Make sure it's someone who actually is going to take the time to ask those questions and get those answers from you, because then you're going to know that they're actually, again, like she said, they're looking out for your best interest. Because the thing I have with money coaches and wealth coaches that don't ask those questions, and she's called people out. Trust me, she has called money coaches and wealth coaches out. Okay. Like, there was a while there, I was like, I don't think she likes me. And I was never the one that was doing those things. And I still was like, OMG. But it was, she calls them out. And I even posted, I remember put this in a comment, is these people give wealth coaches and money coaches and CFOs a bad name. And not all of us are like that. I actually ask questions. And here's the thing. I tell my clients that if you're not going to be open with me and share that information with me, then we don't need to work together. Because if you can't be honest with me, I can't help you. I can't support you. I can't help you create those things that you want, because I don't have all the information. And I have to have all of the information, even information you don't think I need it. Because it helps form that. And, I have some people who won't work with me because I want that information. And again, I'm sure Karla will tell you, I hold it in the strictest confidence. I'm sure she does too. And we can't help you if we don't have all that information, because it affects it. But, when you work with someone, make sure they give a crap and they are asking these questions. I'd prefer it be me or Karla, or one of the ones we know are doing it. And regardless, still make sure that they're asking you, these questions, and they actually care. And if your gut has a funky feeling about it, walk away.
Yeah. And one last thing for me, it's a different experience when we're working together, because I do the same thing that Lisa does. I do not ask you what your dreams are. I ask you what your goals are. And part of the financial planning process that I take my clients through before I do a goal setting meeting with them, I tell them that they need to sit in a space between 30-40 minutes, and I want them to jot down every single wealth goal that they have. And I want them to not filter it. I want them to jot it down, because we are told, especially as women, that we are supposed to have wealth a certain way, not have all the wealth. There's just so many things coming at us. And I am there to give you permission to think outside the box and not, stifle ourselves, because
Right.
that's the whole point of us working together, is making sure that we have the resources, but we're able to build wealth our way. And so that can look like, I want to take vacations every year, or I want to take time off to write a book, or I want to purchase investment properties. Believe it or not all advisors, especially myself, I am not like, give me all your money and only invest it in the market. Like, there's other ways to, build wealth. And that's where the planning comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where, Lisa and I work differently with our clients, is we want to make sure that you're not putting yourself in a box and thinking that you don't deserve certain things, especially wealth. You do deserve it, and you deserve to work with people that want to see you build as much as you're able to.
And another thing that we're alike in this, and sets us apart from a lot of people, is that we want you to understand that there's more than one way to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was saying, you don't have to invest in, the stock, or invest in whatever. There's other ways to build wealth. There's other
Mm-hmm.
ways to create it. There's other ways to retain it and expand it. There's different ways. And having the belief of, oh, it can only be this one way, right? The
Mm-hmm.
strict way. We want you to realize, no, again, thinking outside the box, no, there's more than one way, and we can do it aligned with your values and goals. And a lot of times, and when you get that information, we're able to show you those different ways that's actually possible, that would be more aligned with your goals, and not having to do it, just this way because some willy-nilly said to do it that way.
Yeah.
My favorite word.
No,
Exactly.
exactly.
It doesn't have to be dull and boring and stressful and taboo, and just because the bro world, or whatever you want to call it, society, bro world, whatever you want to call them, says that it has to be done this way and can't do it any other way, we call crap on it, because it can be done, and anybody ever tells you that you can't create wealth unless you come from it or marry into it, all you need to do is go to my page, because let me just tell you, I didn't come from it, and I sure did not marry into it. I created it. Okay. And I created it from less than nothing. I was on food stamps. I created it from less than nothing. And with God's grace and less than nothing, that is how it was built. And in that time, I changed my relationship with money, thank goodness. And it evolved into me being the sassy wealth queen. And the reason I even have a crown, y'all. I'll have to wear it the next time. I do. I have a crown. I do.
I know. I love it. I love it.
And I'll have to wear it the next time. And my point, though, is, I grew up, and even now we still hear it. If you didn't come from wealth, you're not going to have it. If you get married to it, you're not going to have it. We hear it, especially as women, this is the only way you can do it. This is the only way you can do it. You can't do it that way. And it's just not true. There are, and that's one of the reasons why I want money to stop being a taboo subject. It's the reason why I want wealth to stop being a taboo subject. It's the reason Karla is so passionate about calling out all the people, that say the wrong things and are giving bad advice, which is one of the reasons why I love her, because the reason all of us are getting bad names, financial planners included, wealth planners included, the reason we're getting, wealth coaches, all of us are getting these bad names, is because there's people out there giving horrible advice, and it needs to stop. And, we want you to realize that there is more than one way. I know she's as passionate as I am, because, again, she calls them out. She honestly does not care. She doesn't care. Just go to her personal page. I promise you, you will see what, at least once a week.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stand to see people get screwed over. I also didn't come
I
from
know.
wealth, and my husband and I got married super young. We had a child. We were part of the system as well. I always tell the story of we ate hamburger helper without the hamburger, and
Oh, I ate the hamburger helper with the hamburger, but that was because the hamburger was 99 cents a pound back then.
no,
Okay.
we couldn't even.
And I
No,
could buy the hamburger for 99 cents and I literally would make it. And the hamburger helper was like what, 75 cents back then. And I literally could make it like last like 4 meals. And people are like, how? Because I don't eat 1 meal a day.
yeah, it
And
was. We couldn't even afford the meat, so it was just one of those things of I want people to know that it does. If you don't come from generational wealth, you can still, have the resources.
you can
And
still create it.
yeah, and on my page, yeah, I call people out because I'm sick of seeing people that are licensed, that are advisors. That's why my tagline is the way that it is, because there's a lot of people that have gotten screwed over too from advisors. Just because they have to act in your best interest doesn't mean that they do. And so it's just one of those things. Is I'm going to fight for people that are constantly being told no, that they can't have wealth, and I'm going to make sure that it changes.
And I'm going to be a part of it because I absolutely love it. I mean, and it needs to be called out, right? I mean, we need to, people need to know that there are some people out there giving really bad advice.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I love that we can have these conversations, and we're going to be having more, y'all, just so you know.
Yep.
And if you want to see her more, you just have to go to her page. I'm telling you, it's a hoot. And you can also find her in my new group, the Wealth Queen Collective, where we're building all kinds of wealth, and we're doing it holistically with the 5 wealth codes. And I just invite you to just see a different perspective on how you can change your relationship with money and change your relationship with wealth, and go from that scarcity mindset to abundance, which I'm sure we could have a whole nother
Oh
live
yeah,
on that one.
yes, for sure.
I'm pretty sure that'll need to be one. And just see what's possible. I think that's really important.
Yeah,
So,
for
and
sure.
we could talk about this for an
Yep.
hour and on
Yes.
and on and on, and then you could probably honestly see us laugh and goof up because we've done that plenty of times before.
Yes.
And we're not going to do that. I think that my whole purpose of this one was for you to see the different aspects that go into wealth planning, and see the different pieces to the puzzle, and understand that there are people out there who are actually going to give a damn, and who are actually going to care enough to get the information needed, and not just tell you there's only one way to do something.
Yep. Well, thank you for this
Thank
chat. Love
you.
it. And I'm excited for our next one.
I know. I can't wait already. Until next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.